Hi, this is Malefic Maid and I'm Ed. Today we're going to be painting the Night Lord Lord Exultant, and we've done our acrylic base layers on him, and today is going to be enamel washes and oil paints. A couple things before we begin of supplies that I'm going to be using for this video. So we have Abteilung 502 Gundam Blue oil paint. There will be other paints as well, but I'll show you them as we go through. Then the first step is going to be Streaking Grime for Panzer Grey. There's the Gundam Blue. It is a bit thicker than some of the Abteilung oil paints, so we might have to thin it down a little bit. Any thinning and cleaning we do will be with oil paint thinner and cleaner. If you're using it, do be careful because it's got toxic vapors, even the odorless ones. For the Streaking Grime pass, we're going to have our makeup sponges here at the ready to remove the excess. And we're going to be using, I've got a synthetic brush here, preloaded with a bit of paint on. And then I've got a soft blending brush. So this is I got this from Cass Art. It was only about £5. It's a really nice soft brush. I like the way it's got ever so slight taper as well. So you'll see this is going to come in really handy. And yeah, and then I'll kind of go through the other products that I'll be using as we go through. Not because I'm trying to sell you anything, but just because if you want to try and do any of these things at home, then you can kind of follow along with the same tools that I've used. All right, let's go into it. So we're going to start off with the Streaking Grime for Panzer Grey. I'm going to do it on his foot to start with, just because this is fresh out of the pot and I need to see kind of just how thick this is. I did give it a good shake. I had to decant it into a fresh pot with a ball bearing. So yeah, that's not too thick. So we're literally going to just slap this on now over the whole model. It's the joy of enamel washes because it's the reductive technique, which means we can just kind of remove the excess. If anything, I'd actually say that since I decanted it, this is ever so slightly thinner than it was before. So that'll be interesting. So as I mentioned briefly, I think in the previous video, I specifically use Streaking Grime for Panzer Grey because it has a reddish brown hue, and I think that works really well with the blue. Because it creates sort of like a purple tone in the recesses, and I just think this really makes that sort of midnight color pop. As you're doing this, don't worry if you if you apply too thick, we can easily remove. Just if you're using certain toxic solvents and stuff for your removal passes, do just be careful, have a window open, and just make sure that you've got good ventilation. I do actually have a product which I am going to do a short video on, highly recommending. It is genuinely a product I believe in, and it's just if you happen to want to use it and support the channel at the same time, I'm going to do like an Amazon affiliate link, but it's a genuine product. I've been using it for about 5 years. So the way I'm also doing this is I'm doing it effectively, if you'll notice, a bit of a dabbing motion. I'm not pulling the wash off too much with like kind of streaks, apart from on these bat wings here. I'm just trying to do gentle dabs to get most of it off. And you'll see already as well, the ribbing that I didn't do anything to, it already looks really nice with that wash in. I'll try and take some of it off on the raised areas a bit, but we'll be able to come in there and highlight that with any color that we want. Okay, so I think what I'll do is I'll finish off this dabbing off camera. It won't take too much longer, but I think I've shown you kind of what I need to show you on here in terms of where we're at with it and what you do. And yeah, and then I'll show you the next stage with the Gundam Blue. So I'm just going to do this very, very small bit of armor here. You're not even going to be able to see it once the flesh cloak's on. So it's the perfect area for us just to sort of like test this out. So we applied it with the synthetic brush, and now we just come in with our soft blending brush, and we just very gently, again, it's all dabbing motion. I'm just going to blend that in. But this is literally all you do, just multiple passes here. You'll notice that I'm not having to actually be that careful. It's just dab the paint on, move it around with the soft blend brush, and slowly build it up. Let's try it as well on this shoulder pad here, because it might be a little bit easier for you to see it, because that was a very small area. So I've come in fairly heavy there because I really want to show you how easy it is just to blend it out. And then sometimes I just wipe off any potential excess blue oil from the brush onto the kitchen towel that I've got next to me on my right. Again, not being overly careful. And just that soft dabbing motion. And at the very end of this, what we're going to do is we're going to, when it's all dry, we're going to spray it with Winsor & Newton Professional Matte Varnish. It's one of my favourite varnishes out there. And this will actually help flatten the tones here. And it just ties everything together really nicely. And okay, so all I did was I just carried on with those passes, literally using those two brushes. The light's really harsh here, so I'm not sure if you're seeing those transitions. I'm not saying they're like spectacular or anything, but like considering I just spent like, what, 20 minutes just dabbing on a bit of blue and then just like blending it out. But I think that's already looking so much better, and it's just taken not a lot of effort at all. So I'm going to grab a fresh brush. So I've got a few of these. They're just cheap synthetic brushes. So this time what we're going to do is we have 502 Abteilung Midnight Blue. So I've popped that on my palette, and you could skip this step. You don't need to do it at all. Is you just come in with a tiny little bit, and you go into the shadows. This one's a bit of an older brush, so it's not quite as soft, and it has gone through. Oh, you can see that I've just got on a bit there. And in fact, actually, that's a really good point for me to show you just how easy it is to clean. So let's just go in, blend out that dark blue, and then we can come back in. So I don't really need to be doing anything on the back of the legs here as much. I just really want to show you just how easy it is. You know, this isn't precision painting, and yet you can still get like nice results. And then you see how I like messed up a little bit there. If I just get like another one of my cheap brushes, a fresh one, I'm going to put a bit of my cleaning fluid on. And I'm just going to come in and just work away at the bit where I got it. And you can see, like, just, I mean, come on, that comes off so easily. Like, you know, yes, you could, if you did it with acrylics, you could like douse it with water and stuff, or you could just go over it. But yeah, just really easy. But if you want to get that dark blue in the shadows, that's how you do it. I'm going to do the rest of that off camera because it's just, yeah, you don't need to be doing the same thing over and over, but it's exactly the same process. So you dab on the paint, then you blend it with your soft blender, and then you can do a cleaning pass if you need to using the cleaning fluid. All right, cool, I'll see you in a sec. So I just came in with a couple shadows, nothing major. And so now I'm going to just do a bit of work on the flesh, I'm going to use nice sunny flesh tone by Abteilung. We'll do it on here first. So exactly the same method as before. You only want to put on just a very, very small amount. Sorry, I don't know if there's, sorry, I've got a little headlamp on there for when I'm painting off camera, but I don't want it to cause any glare for you guys. So you can see it just blends in so nice and soft. Very quick, dabbed on, being neat-ish, but you know, you don't have to be paranoid with oils because as I showed you before, it's very easy to come in with cleaning passes. And then we're going to dab and lightly brush. So the motion I'm doing, so I'm dabbing on, like I'm sort of dabbing and flicking, and then sometimes I drag down. But really it's just trying to make sure that you're hitting those raised areas. But yeah, that flesh tone's come out really nice. All right, guys, so I've come in with the flesh tones. Those are all down. And then I think we're going to move on to doing the magenta. Okay, so I'm not entirely sure which one will be the best one, but I've got magenta and faded flesh. I think we'll come in with the magenta first because I think that's closest in tone. And we'll come in, dab it on. Yeah, so I think tone-wise, I think, yeah, that's pretty good. I think we'll build up a little bit of a layer here. Maybe focus on it slightly more in the recess. So this I'm doing more of a brushing motion. I want to get that colour down and just cover the whole surface. So this is the faded pink. We're going to do this on the highlights. We'll use the same dry brush that we just used that had the magenta on because I'm not too worried if that blends. Sorry, got to make sure you can see it. Yeah, it seems to fade in just fine. So I think we'll come in with a couple passes there. So it's good anyway coming in with that magenta pass, just so that the oil has something to sort of like soft blend into. It's been a little bit now since we had the Streaking Grime down, so that will not be dry, but there'll be less of it for it to blend into. But you can always reactivate your paints if needed. Yeah, that's nice. Let's do it on the front. Hopefully you'll see better because there'll be a bit less shadow there as well. I've only put a thin amount on, so I'm basically just going to try and paint it on. Then we'll come in with that same dry brush. If it gets on the chain, doesn't matter. We're going to be coming in with a metal pass anyway, later on. Always try and do things that are in the back first, that are in the recesses, because you can just do those, finish them off, and then fix anything that's above, and fixing the things above that are raised areas will be much easier. put a bit of that faded pink in on the slightly raised bits of cloth. So I think what I'll do is off camera, I'm going to do the strap here, probably slightly differently, like a bit darker maybe. And then this part here a bit darker. So I probably won't come in with the faded pink, but I'll just give it a magenta pass. And then I might just try and bring out some of the highlights on the cloth at the front. And then I'll also do that. But it's all following that same process. All right, see you in a sec. Right, so we've come in with a bit of soft blending there on the magenta using the faded pink. I think that's worked quite nicely. I think the model's really starting to come to life now, just with these very quick and simple passes. Okay guys, I think we're going to do another sweep of the Streaking Grime for Panzer Grey, and we're going to be doing that focusing more on the metals now. So I'll do one bit with you. So I'll do the back just so that it's like our practice area. Here, for instance, you can see the groove of the metal. We want to just get those shadows in. No, I'm still using the number 3 synthetic brush. And same over here. Let's come in heavy and blend it out. So I'm just going to carry on doing that, and then I'll come back to you. All right, cheers. So turquoise lights, heavily thinned down. And we're going to try this on the rivets. There we go. And you'll know it's heavily thinned down because you want it kind of pretty, like almost water-like, kind of milky consistency. And obviously you're using your oil solvent to do that. Okay, next up we're going to come in with a bit of AK Interactive True Metal. So that's this one, and this is brass. And we're kind of like doing a sort of stippling motion. We're not being overly neat. This isn't an edge highlight. We just want to kind of hit some of those top areas. Okay, so I'm basically just going to carry on doing this over the rest of the trim. All right, guys, so we've just gone around the metal. So AK Interactive, True Metal Iron, and I'm just going to do the same thing that I did on the other metals, but I'm going to do that on any kind of silver part. So I might as well do that off camera. It's the same thing where you will, so this is a wax-based oil paint, so you will want to thin it down a little bit so that it flows off the brush nicely. In fact, I'll do the first part with you. Now, a lot of people painted this part the same colour as the base armour, but I thought it was a really nice little detail, so I decided to pick it out in silver. So I'm doing very, very like a light pass, and because the flow of the oil paint is so nice, it will just pick up those raised edges, and I can always come in with washes down the line. And that's all there is to that, really. Okay, so I've done most of the metal parts. What I haven't done yet, though, is those studs and the rivets in the flesh. So I am switching out now to a rather beaten and worn up Winsor & Newton Miniature Series 7. I think this is a 00 brush. I'm just going to do like one on camera with you. Okay, so I'm just going to come in now with a bit of a pin wash. So this is using the Streaking Grime for Panzer Grey. Okay, so hopefully that gives you an idea of what I'm doing. I just want to enhance the shadows slightly of where the raised edges are. And that's going to be all over the model. And I will come back to you once I've done that. And yeah, we'll see how it's looking. All right, guys, so I have gone over this with a pin wash. I also just decided that I would go just turquoise for the injector vials. That is oil paint, so I'm leaving it to dry for a bit before I put any kind of like shading in there. And yeah, as you can see, like I've literally just pin washed in the shadows and stuff. But yeah, I think this is looking pretty nice. I think I'll probably have to do a third part, to be honest. So what I'm thinking is I need to wait for this to dry so that I can then put a matte varnish on, and then I can do any kind of like final washes or touch-up passes. So because what will happen is the matte varnish will really knock down any shine, and then I don't know if it's any good or not, but I picked up this satin coat by Humbrol. So what I'll do is, once I've knocked it all down with the matte varnish and kind of flatten the layers, then I will come in with the satin finish on anywhere that I think kind of needs to be shiny. I've also started the skin cloak, but because it's following the same process, I figured there was no point kind of showing it on camera. So this has been 8 oil paints and the Streaking Grime wash, and I think we've gotten to pretty good results with that. We're really not far off now, but I think this video is probably going to be long enough as it is. So I think we're going to do a part 3. And yeah, so thank you very much for being with me. The paints that I've used, some of that I have put affiliate links down in the description. So if you do want to buy those products and give me a bit of support, that's fantastic. But absolutely no worries if not. I don't have links with like Element Games or Traveling Man, but they do excellent prices. You're hobbyists, you know how expensive this hobby is. Find what works for you and just go for those things. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to finishing this for you guys. I think he's looking good, and I think when you go back as well, like not that you're going to, but when we compare it to where we started with those acrylic base layers, that really wasn't much. It was like what, like 3-4 colors or something. I just think that this is so much further along, and it hasn't taken me particularly long. I think I've been here for like maybe like probably like 2 hours, to be honest. Thank you so much. There will be a third part where we do the final touches, and I'll try and get a ring light so that I can show you some of those more detailed steps properly. But yeah, thank you guys. Take care. Have a nice one.